newly qualified therapists who've learned all the skills and the arts of NLP and hypnotherapy quite rightly want to try it out on their clients. The word try implies either success or failure. So therefore, really, we don't want to try. We want to use the best techniques that we can possibly use on our clients. The thing about newly qualified therapists, though, is they rush into using all these great techniques because their trainer might have said, oh, this is the most amazing technique ever, it reprograms the mind or whatever. The fact is, you need to get to allow your client to get to know you, to understand the process of hypnosis, to understand the process of how their mind can actually make the changes that are necessary. So I've seen over these last 20 years some people who they think they're very clever and will use all these techniques very quickly, maybe a first or second appointment, and then wonder why either the client isn't moving on or the client doesn't come back. You know, when you first learned to create and set anchors or to use a swish or phasphobia, it's not easy. You have to do it over and over again to get it right. So to ask your client to do that in a short hour session, they're perhaps not going to do it at all, but maybe pretend that they will do it just to either please you or just to get the session over and done with. So stop rushing in to use all these, you think, quick fix techniques. I'm not saying it should be weeks and weeks, but the first session definitely should be get to know your client, get to know what it is that they want to achieve. If you haven't used a well-formed outcome, you're flailing all over the place because you don't really know what they want to achieve. You're making assumptions of what you think that they want or what they need. So a well-formed outcome is so important on that first session to really find out what they want to achieve and whether it's achievable and how you can help them positively. If somebody's never experienced hypnosis before, it must be awful for them to come in and be maybe afraid or in their mind they're not quite sure what's going to happen. So apprehensive would be the word as well. It's up to you as a good, caring, empathetic therapist to make sure that they understand exactly what hypnosis is and what it entails so that they feel comfortable going into a trance. Nobody will go into a trance if they're worried or they're scared or they don't feel comfortable in any way. So it is your duty of care to make sure that they understand the process really well and to help them to feel really comfortable whilst you're using this kind of wonderful therapeutic tool for them so that they'll get great benefit. So that first session should be about getting to know your client, using a well-formed outcome to know exactly what they want to achieve, and then introducing them to the absolutely wonderful delight of hypnosis so that they can leave you feeling great. They can leave you feeling so relaxed rather than, I'm not sure if I've been hypnotized. If somebody says that, it just probably means that you maybe haven't explained it enough. Maybe they've got a different idea of what they thought it was going to be. So stop trying to be clever and use quick-fire techniques. You may have had a trainer who's said, oh look, we can do this really quickly, or maybe you've been online and been watching lots of therapists using NLP techniques. Don't be fooled into thinking that that's all you need to do and your client's going to say, oh yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, just like you saw maybe on YouTube or on a DVD. Everybody's different. Some people take time to understand the processes. So I've sometimes overheard therapists just rushing through a swish and the poor client saying, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to imagine or visualize. So maybe on your first session you need to teach them how to visualize so that you can use that in NLP techniques, which are mostly visual, and certainly in hypnosis where you want to use guided imagery. Now, if any newly qualified therapist, or indeed any therapist that is using guided imagery on a first session, it's really hit and miss. You're 50-50 that it's going to work, and actually it's not beneficial for your client. So to take them into trance and then ask them to imagine they're on a beach or out for a walk somewhere, they may not be good visualizers, and all they're saying inside their mind, this isn't working, oh, I don't really like this and I probably won't come back again. So you're not doing your own business any good by using guided imagery. It might be easy for you to do it, but you need to teach your client how to visualize. The first session really ought to be kinesthetic. So if it's kinesthetic, as in Ericksonian scripts that you've probably read, then they will quickly adapt to that. So body relaxation, getting them to understand how they can slow everything down in their body and feel more and more relaxed. Try any other kind of techniques in hypnosis and probably the failure rate will be quite high. So you have to learn all of these things, of course, yourself as you get into your new career as a therapist. But that first session that you have with a client absolutely needs to be you giving lots of empathy, building lots of rapport with them as well, making sure that they feel comfortable with you, and that whatever money they're spending on this therapy is going to be well spent, and that they will start to feel better. Of course, on any subsequent sessions, you've got a range of techniques that you can use. I wouldn't recommend you use more than one or maybe two NLP techniques at each session because it's too much for the client to accept or to take in. So choose your techniques very wisely and carefully. And of course, on a second session, you can then begin to evaluate whether that client has responded very well to hypnosis and that you'll be able to use some interventions during the next trance that you take them into quite easily and quite effectively.